initial L, last name Gentry, Gentry. But now you can put a slash Tuffy, Tuffy. That's my nickname. That's what everybody knows me as. Tuffy, Tuffy.
How'd you get that nickname?
They say, my mother said when I was born, the nurse dropped me and I didn't cry. And she picked me up. She said, "Oh, you got a little Tuffy here," and it just hung. It's just been with me all my life because they thought I was dead. I didn't cry, and she picked me up. She said, "Oh, you got a little Tuffy here." So that's hung to me.
Can we have your date of birth?
4/17/41, and that's what I wanted to correct for the last time. I'm 56 instead of 57.
How long have you lived in Casper?
Okay, now this we're gonna have to kind of go by. I wrote it down because I've been in and out of Casper so much. Now I started George Washington Elementary School here. So that had to be in 47. I was 6 years old, and so that's when I started. Chester said I was 3 years old when he met me, so that was like 44 after the service guys got here. And then I stayed here until, let me see, God, I got 3 points of mom in history.
You were born here then?
No, I was not born here. I was born in Oklahoma City. I was not born here. So I'm going to say I stayed here until, God, 53, the first time. And then we left and we moved to Texas. I stayed in Texas, and I was back here, oh God, in 64. And so you got to put the years down. It's kind of a jungle, but you got to put it like that. And I was back in 64. And then I stayed here until 77. And I married and went to Houston, and I was gone at this time until, when did I get back here, 94. And I've been back 94. So it's kind of a jungle. So I got 3 points. I got a youth part of memories, and then I got a young adult part of history. And that's how I guess I'll be talking to you guys about is the youth part.
Can you tell us about your life?
Okay, well, early Casper memories. Like I said, I started elementary school here. It was in George Washington. It wasn't at that time very many blacks. I mean, there was few blacks here, and especially young kids. It was one other family that I remember on the sandbar. Now, it was probably other black kids in North Casper somewhere, and they were the Grosses. It's Grosses. They were the Grosses, and that's who I played with outside of the Spanish kids. There was a lot of Spanish kids. I played with the Martinas and the Montoyas and then the other white kids, but we were like the only black kids. And
Janice, before you go on, can you tell us how you came from Oklahoma City to Casper? Tell us about your family.
Okay, I think what happened, my mother's a cook by trade, and I think what happened, the war was over and the soldiers was here, and she came here when found out the soldiers was going to be disembarking here because she was a cook by trade.
What was your mother's name?
Rosalie Tiger, Tiger.
Tiger. Okay, Rosalie. Okay. And she's a cook, and found out that soldiers are going to be here.
And she came out here and cooked. In fact, later years when I was little, she went to Cody, Wyoming, and cooked at the dude ranch. She was that good of a cook. She would go out on the dude ranches and things and cook for people, when they stayed like a month or 6 weeks at a time. Just when they had their seasons, when they had the people visiting, and she would go there and cook for them. And Fannie Bell's, she cooked at Fannie Bell. Fannie Bell's is one of the older establishments, and before she died, later on, Shirley Gray had it, but Mom cooked. And then Hennon Hotels. So she was just a cook by trade.
So she's at Fannie Bell's. Shirley Gray owned Fannie Bell's?
Later on.
Okay.
Later on.
And then she went on to the Henning? Okay. What about your father?
My dad's in Oklahoma. They divorced. My dad was in Oklahoma. I wasn't around that much. He was in Oklahoma, and they divorced. And then, like I said, my school years, and I don't know, I had a happy child life. I can't tell you, kids were safe at that time. Even though we stayed on the sandbar, the drunks and the prostitute would always run us kids away. If we were around them while they were doing their drinking or whatever they were doing, they would say, "You kids get away from here." Not like as today, inviting the kids or making the kids do wrong. They would always push us away, make us go and wait. Whether so, and I had a fun life. I really did. I think it was a fun childhood, and I was trying to think. Oh, and I guess you want to know about the segregation part. Like I said, I don't remember any prejudice and youthful until I got early years. During the time, elementary school time, little kids, they accepted us. I think they just accepted we were a novelty. And I didn't express any, because I can remember I was sitting at the counter drinking cherry Cokes. It was a drugstore right up there. You know where the American Theater is now, and that empty parking lot? Well, it's a park now. They've made it like a park. Some benches are sitting there. It was a drugstore right there. And we could go in there and get cherry Cokes, and this was during the time it was segregated down in the South.
Stop. The drugstore is right where will you describe it again?
Okay, you know where the American Theater,
Mhm.
and then right now it's made a park. It's you can sit there.
By the bank there?
No, yeah, by the bank.
Okay.
Yeah, right across from where, is that the Townsend? Right across from where the
Henning was.
Henning was.
Okay.
Right across from there.
Right on First and Center.
First and Center. It
Okay.
used to be an old drugstore. I swear I don't know what the name of it was, but anyway, I can remember going in there drinking cherry Cokes at the Fuller Fountain. And they never, I just didn't experience no prejudice. Like I said, I think because by us being kids, and we weren't that many there, I didn't experience it a lot until I got of age, when I got young adult, and then I started experiencing some prejudice. But, and let's see what else. Oh, and I guess still this childhood movies down there. I can remember playing along that railroad track and that Platte River down there. That was our playground down there. Mother used to get us all the time about not going too close to the river, but that was our playground. That's where we played.
So you lived in the Sandbar then?
Yeah, right on 213 North Ash.
213 North Ash.
Yeah, 213 North Ash. And one of those little shacks. I can show you the pictures of it. And then there was some other apartments behind Wolfer's Bakery store. It used to be Wolfer's Bakery. In fact, I can show you the picture of it. I was going to show you this in this book. And it was some apartments behind here. See, this is Wolfer's Bakery. And it was a little chute that went between in there, and there was some apartments back there, and then that's the restaurant that my mom had at one time. That she had at one time. And there was some apartments right in back of there. And, well, let's see what else. Ask me what else you need to know.
What kind of experiences did you have in public schools when you were here?
When I was here? Like I said, I didn't experience no prejudice, and I think it was fine that I can remember, because I still remember I'm in the elementary grades, I'm first grade, kindergarten, second grade, and and we just got along well because it wasn't any. Now later on, when my kids started going, we ran into a little prejudice, but during my little childhood, I can't remember none. And I can remember, and during that time, people were still nice to kids. I hate to say it, but people were still nice to kids. I can remember Halloween and stuff like we'd get pillowcases full of candy and stuff. We wouldn't have to worry about it being poison or nothing like that. And people just accepted you. They were just nice to kids. And then if they saw kids in trouble, they would stop or either tell your parents or something. But now, people don't even care. They don't even care about kids anymore. It's just real sad.
What's your favorite memory about living in Castro?
My favorite memory? Ooh. Let's see what a favorite one would be. Oh, God. I don't really know. A favorite one. Oh. I really don't know what a favorite one would be. I don't know if I have a favorite. I guess it would be my elementary childhood. That was fun times. I guess that would be my favorite. The favorite, because as I got older and realized there was more out in the world and there was different types of things in the world, then I could make a difference. Then I could differentiate what I had and what we didn't have here. So I would guess I'd say my elementary child years was a better time, because you're still naive, you're still young, and you still like the flowers and the trees and all this good stuff, and that was fun times.
Can you tell us about Washington Elementary School?
Oh, it was located, God, where the bank is now, not the Key Bank, what's that bank right there on?
Norwest.
Norwest, it's
Yeah.
located Norwest Bank, and it was just like a little two-story. I think it just only went to 6th grade or something. I don't think it went any higher than that. And the principal, I swear to God, I wasn't going to forget that lady's name, but she was a typical lady principal, and she's a typical stereotype principal like you see in the story. Skinny, tall, skinny, top knot buns, hair straight back, top knot bun, where she had the ruler and she would peck you. She was typical. I said I'd never forget that lady's name, but it was a nice school. We had swings in the playground, which we had the gravel. And I don't know when they tore it down. I wish I could remember. I don't know when they tore it down, because by me leaving here, and when I come back, it was gone. I guess we could find in the college or somewhere it was gone. But it was a nice school. We had fun. But like I said, and I can remember during the time I was going to school, you had, if the war was just kind of over ago, we had to bring a canned good. We'd bring canned goods to school to feed the people that didn't have, and they would give us a stamp. We had a little book. You know, that we could put stamps in, and every time you bring a canned good, they would give you a stamp. And then after you got the little stamp book filled, then you could buy something like a ruler or a pencil or a pencil. In other words, we were helping other people, but we were helping, you know, ourselves too. They were getting us involved with sending canned goods to the kids over there. And we have to bring, and I kept my mother's cabinet empty, bringing the canned goods to feed the other people over there.
Well, did your mother remain a single parent then throughout your childhood?
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters?
Oh yeah, I have brothers and sisters.
Could you tell us about them?
Okay, oh God, let's see. I got one brother, only one brother. And let's see, yes, Kay, yes, Vicky, and it's Lois and Irma, 4 sisters. I have 4 sisters, one's the 6th now. And 3 of them are in Oklahoma, and one is the baby sister's in Seattle. And one of them was born here. Kay was born here, and she was the oldest one that was born here. The others were in Oklahoma or Texas. And I have one child that was born here. The baby boy, he was the one that was born here in '67, and the rest of them were born in Texas. So it's been kind of a yo-yo, a road run. I've been kind of a road runner back and forth. So he was the oldest one. And I had two of mine went to elementary school here, but they didn't graduate, which I hate. And the baby boy, he graduated in Texas when I stayed in Texas. So, and anything?
Well, tell us about your kids then.
My kids? Oh God! Like I said, I got 3 boys and 1 girl.
And their names?
Okay, the oldest is Russell, and the girl comes in there as Rose, and Tim comes in, and then Chris. And God, they're just typical children, I guess. Like I said, I haven't had one out of all of them to finish school. I hate that. It's true about all of them in trouble with the law. They got in trouble with the law, so not too proud of that. But they're still my kids. I still love them. Not too proud. But I only had the one that graduated, and they went to school here. Like I said, I had a little racial problem with them. Tim, he went over to Willard, and I had to go over there. And in fact, Russell went to Natrona too.
His name was Gentry too? Is there?
No, the Wallaces. Wallace, W-L-L-S-E-E. Yeah, and I had to go to Willard. It was a little prejudice. It was, and I'm the type of mother, if you're going to punish one, punish both of them. And what happened, if some licks was passed, it was between the little boy. My little boy hit the little boy hit back. They made my little boy stay after school and sent the other little boy home. And that made me angry. I thought it wasn't fair, so I go up there and I said, look, if you're going to punish them, punish both. I didn't mind them being punished, but punish both. I said, if it's 2 licks was passed, how come one person is being punished? I just couldn't deal with that. I mean, if you're going to make them stay after school, make them both stay. So, and I found out once I did that, and I've always been, how you say, kind of a take charge person or aggressive person. I stopped it. I nipped it in the bud. I mean, if there were some racial thing, I nipped it in the bud. I just stopped. It's just where it was at. It's like, hey, let's take care of this right now. I just can't deal with it. So I didn't have no more problem with that. And I had a couple times I had to go on account of the kids, but it was always something similar to that incident, whereas if my kids hit back, or one of the kids that would punish mine, and I would just, look, let's punish them both. I mean, let's don't just punish mine, punish them both. And then once they knew I was the type of mother that would come and find out what's happening, then that kind of got straightened out. So I just didn't sit back and say, well, okay, let's take charge.
So are Russell, Tim, Chris, and Rose, all of them are Wallaces then?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other incidents of discrimination in their lives then?
Like I said, I can remember the little minor at the schools, and I went to that, and I don't know. Like I said, I didn't find a whole lot of it until I got, I guess you said, young adult, after I had the kids and the youthful adults. And then I can remember one time, this was God, it had, I'm going to say 60 something, in Cass's clients, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. We had just come back up here, and we got a settlement. I had a $500 bill. That's where they stopped making $500 bills, and I went into Cass's and I was going to buy something. And it was an old lady in there, and she picked it up and looked like, oh, a $500 bill. I have never seen one of these in so long. And what she was doing, though, by me being a black person, I wasn't supposed to have this $500 bill, you know. And I mean, she called everybody and I said, come here, look, you know. And I said, now look, and back then, Cassius and Clyde, you know, they used to having big money going through the store, you know. So I mean, she performed, and I didn't like that. And then I asked her for something. I said I want to see. And she said, you mean ma'am? I said, no, I don't. I said yes, and I mean yes. Why do I have to say ma'am to you? I said, I don't say ma'am to my mother. I said yes, I mean yes. You mean yes, ma'am? I said, no, I don't. I said, yes, I mean yes. And I said, when I see something to ma'am, I'll ma'am something. But no, but she really wanted me to say yes, ma'am to her. She really did. And I mean, this was like I said, late 50s, early 60s. And I said, I never had to say ma'am in my life. I said yes and no. So
You mentioned Cass's. Myrtle Ruckers gave us some archival information on one of the Afro-American women's clubs that she belonged to. And in the context of that, it said something about Afro-American women. They stopped the practice of Afro-American women not being able to try on clothes before they bought them.
Yeah.
Did that really happen?
Yes. And I wouldn't go in there. A lot of them would go in there because we could not try on the clothes.
In
I mean, if I can buy your clothes, I mean, I surely should be able to try it. And I wouldn't go in there. Yes, that's true. She did not lie. So it was a little subtle. You had your little subtle things, but you had to stand up for your rights. You know, you had to stand up and speak for your rights. If you didn't, you would get in. And I never, like I said, had that problem because if something happened, I would always hit it right there on the bud. I mean, I just wouldn't have it. It just makes sense to me. And I thank God that I was raised up out here. I really do appreciate that. And that might be one of my fondest memories, is that I was brought up out here instead of in the 40s and 50s when the civil rights struggle was going on, because I don't think I'd be sitting here at this table today. I'm too outgoing, too aggressive. And during the time that they were spitting on people and had the dogs, I don't think I'd be living today. I just really don't. So I am grateful for that. I'm grateful for being raised up out here during my early years, that I didn't have to go through that struggle.
What other subtle forms of discrimination do you remember?
Oh, subtly, I guess job-wise, getting certain jobs, being promoted on jobs, I think. Although I was kind of fortunate, I had several people, because I forgot about that, because I did do some work, and I didn't get my high school diploma until I was 27. I had to go back. I got a GED because I got pregnant, had kids, etc. And I didn't get mine until I was 27 years old, and I went to work for Mobil Oil. I worked for Mobil Oil. And then after Mobil Oil left, went to Marathon. I went to Marathon because Marathon hired a lot of us.
Secretarial.
Mm-hmm. And then I even worked down to the Social Security a little bit in training. You know, so I think my teacher, her name was Mildred Brim. I'll never forget her. Her name was Mildred Brim, and I think my teacher helped me a lot. In other words, kind of molded me to get me ready for the secretarial jobs, because I was on the welfare, and I finally got out for that after I got my diploma. And I went to work at those places, and then I started from there. Excuse me.
Put that on pause for a minute.
Yeah. But I didn't, like I said, I was just so outspoken and outgoing. I didn't do a whole lot of it. Like I said, some jobs now, some women you went to on the jobs, they were like a little prejudiced. If they saw that you were moving up or moving advanced, then they would balk. They didn't want you to be supervisor over them or move up to the same position that they were. And when I found problems like that, hey, I would already head to that personnel manager or somebody and say, look, hey, this is wrong, you know, let's do something about this. But I just wouldn't go and let it go on and on to build up into something big. I just wouldn't let it do that. But I enjoyed working at those places. And then I left. Like I said, I've had a lot of, as you can see, I had to go down for years. I did a lot of traveling and out of here. And I guess the only reason I'm back here, my kids would never leave. This is home to them. And they've been away, but they just never would leave here. So this is home to them. And I think that's why I come back after I got sick and everything. And that's why I come back, because they just wouldn't leave. And they've been to Houston, but it was just too big for them. They just couldn't deal with it. Couldn't deal with it. And I was trying to think about my work. And Woolco, I forgot I worked at Woolco for years. I was the assistant manager of Ladies Read to Work. When Woolco first started, I started working with them. I don't know if you remember Woolco. It's been a long time, huh?
Where was it?
Out there at Beverly Plaza.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I worked when they first opened up and until they closed. In fact, when I left here, they transferred me from Wilco to Oklahoma City. I left here going to Oklahoma City, and they transferred me to manager of ladies' ready-to-wear. And I didn't have too much problem. In fact, the customers was good. I mean, it wasn't too bad. Too bad. I did have one girl, but she was a little rich girl. I don't know who she was. She wanted to call me a nigger, and this was like, hey, we talking 73, 74. And I don't know what her problem was, but she wanted to call me a nigger, and I had to get that.
Was this out Woolco?
Out to Woolco, yeah. And she was a worker, but she was a little rich kid. She was one of them little rich kids, you know. But she sure did. But she didn't know I was well liked as I was out there to Woolco when she got ready to start her mess, but she sure did. And we both had to go in the office and manager, but she sure did. In fact, we were in the break room when we was sitting up there, and she was doing the inventory time, and she said, "Oh, that we just working like niggers. I've been working like niggers." I said, "What you say? We just working like niggers." I said, "Well, how does a nigger work?" I said, "How does a nigger?" She sure did. I said, "Well, this sure is not the right thing to say. I mean, you can say we working real hard or we overwork or something, but we just working like niggers." She said, "She sure did." I said, I said, "I cannot believe this." So that's about the base of it. Now, today, now that I'm back, now when I came back here, and I don't know if it was no job, this was in '94, and I went to a business school and I had my credentials and everything. I could only get 20 hours a week work. This was before I got sick, before I got on oxygen. And I would 20 hours a week is all, and I carried a straight B average. In fact, I got my resume, I should have got it and showed it to you. I carried a straight B average. I was on the dean's list, and when I come here to apply for a job, that's all the work I could find, 20 hours a week. And this was over at Minimark, the corporation office. And so that let me know again, I'm saying, okay, I said, God, after all this time, you mean that you still can't find no job here in Casper? I mean, it's
And that was when?
90, I come here in '94. So I started in '94 and I worked up through April of '95, and that's when I got sick. This is 1994.
So that's fairly recent.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So you feel there might have been some discrimination?
Oh, it has to be. It had to be, because I mean, I had topped. I wish I could find my paper. Hang on a minute. Cut it off just a minute. I almost can't find it. There's my business school. I graduated out of there. And 20 hours a week. That's all those people would give me, okay?
You went on interviews all over?
Everywhere. In fact, I got that through Manpower. Manpower is how I got that 20 hours a week doing that. Now this is in '94. This is some of my resume. I can't find some of my school paper, but that's the closest I can find. But now look here at Word Perfect that I took back then. Now look at that.
Pretty good.
And to get 20 hours a week. I mean, that's why I say it has to be prejudice. I couldn't see no other reason, okay?
Right.
It has to be. It could be no, and I'm dressed nice. I look, you know, when I go, I know how to go to look on the interview. So it has to be. You know what I'm saying? It just don't make sense.
Are you on a disability now?
I'm on disability, yeah, now because I can't work now.
Right.
Because I can't breathe. But I was willing and able, trying to get a job. And willing and able, trying to get. And I don't understand people. That's something else I don't understand. If they don't want you on welfare, then you go out there try to work, and then they won't give you a job, and then they'd rather put you on disability like I'm on disability, and then they can handle that. I mean, that's dumb. To me, it's really dumb. It's really dumb.
What about housing? Did you ever have?
I did. I was on housing for a while, and right over to, and that, I got that. They give me Spring Hill. I qualified for Spring Hill, but I got so bad till my son thinks I need to be with somebody. They've got, because this, I'm gonna keep getting worse. It's gonna debilitate. So that's why I'm staying with him. They don't want me to stay by myself because it's gonna keep getting worse.
So this is your son's then? What about discrimination in housing through the years? Have you experienced that at all?
Well, like I said, we stayed mostly down on the sandbar, so we didn't really try for over in North Casper or anything, and down there they didn't mind, so I never did try. My mother never was one of the ones who tried to buy a house. And then, well, let me take that back. When I was getting houses for me and my kids, I didn't have any problems. So let me see if I had that. No, I don't remember having any problems, because I stayed over there on Conwell, South Conwell, and then North Conwell, but some of them were through the housing, you know, the housing association. What is it? Casper Housing?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. The Housing Authority.
Housing Authority, yeah, it was through there. Yeah, And I tell you something they did there. Now this is an incident. I don't know if this is prejudice, if this was silly or not, but it's a story I like to tell, and it's a true story. And the lady's still living. I don't know if you want me to call her name or not.
Are the tapes okay, or do we need
Yeah.
to change?
They're doing okay.
Okay.
It was that one of the houses I had right over there on is that H or K? That's J. But it's right off of Melrose. That's where it was. Anyway, Henrietta Campbell. She was the head lady of the housing authority at that time when me and my children were staying in there.
Campbell?
Henrietta Campbell. She was the head lady. And me and my children, it was a nice place. They built those houses, but they didn't put no grass, no sod on that. They expected us to buy the sod. And I'm already on welfare. I'm just getting $3 or something a month for me and my 4 kids and everything. They give us a nice house and everything, and then they expected us to buy the grass seed. And I told her, I said, look, I only get 3 something a month. My kids can't eat them grass seeds. If y'all was gonna build a house, y'all should have put the grass seed in with the house there. But they really expected, and I was on Waterloo. I mean, they really want. I said, I can't buy no grass seeds because my kids can't eat the grass, and I didn't have enough money to do it. And so finally, they come along and put it on. They figured, well, once they give you the house, then you could buy the grass and stuff. Well, if I'm able to buy some grass seed and stuff, I don't need your housing. I mean, don't that make sense to you? I mean, if I can buy a lawnmower and buy the grass seed and feed the grass and stuff, then do I need help with housing? I mean, they do some silly things. I said, I just couldn't deal with it. So I was at Waterloo. It's like, no.
Okay, wave.
I'm probably skipping around, but I had made me some notes. I thought about it. And I remember I was a kid, and we had 3 shows here. We had, you out? Not
What does
on?
the red one mean?
I don't know.
I'll put it in the other episodes.
Yeah.
I'm just going back to the childhood. I can remember I was here when they had the 3 shows. They had the Rex, the Rialto, and the America. And we used to go to shows. I think it was like 10 cents. I'd pay 10 cents to get into the movies, and we'd go to movies all day long. And a big bag of popcorn for like 15 cents. And that's during my childhood. And I can remember at Christmas time, all the shows would give us the kids, all the kids to come in there, apples and oranges, a bag of candy. You'd buy your ticket to go in to the show, and as they go in, they would hand you this. They'd have Santa Claus sitting in the lobby, and he would give each kid that came in there a big bag of apple and oranges and candy for Christmas time. That, I guess, I don't know, I guess it was just by being here in Casper, I guess. And I can remember also, they had it's gone now, I don't know if you remember or not, at that drive-in. Was it Rex's Drive-In?
Rex's Drive-In,
Rex's
yes.
Drive-In. They used to have the best old hamburgers. I was here, but they
And onion rings.
yeah, they used to have the best old hamburgers, so I can remember that. And then also now going back, as I'm jumping back, going back to my youthful, the Wonder Bar. I used to go into the Wonder Bar a lot, and that's what I can kind of tell you a little bit about the prejudice. This is the young adult life, is the Wonder Bar. We used to
You
go
want
up
to
there a
tell
lot.
them about the Wonder Bar?
Yeah, the Wonder Bar was really, it's where Dillinger's is now, and it was Dillinger's is a lot calmer than the Wonder Bar. The Wonder Bar at the time I was going was really still Wild West like. I mean, they were just rough. It was just a rough bar. I mean, they would have bands and things, and they would have the wet T-shirt dances and things like that, and you could get the long neck bottle of beer, and it was basically mostly a white thing, but blacks started going in there. We would start going in there, and it wasn't never too much. I guess they began to accept us later on because it was a few of us, but we really weren't quite welcome. And I tell you another one we wasn't welcome, it was the old Beacon. We were never welcome to the Beacon. In fact, every time we go out to the Beacon, somebody always end up getting a fight. The cowboys didn't want the blacks out there, and somebody always end up getting a fight. But later on, they began to say the Beacon and the Avalon, they were really white clubs. I mean, if you went, you could go with a white friend or something like that, but if you went by yourself as a black, you could basically look for, some kind of trouble or something. They just didn't want you out there.
What kind of trouble?
Well, they fight. They would say slurs, you didn't have no business in there or something like that. So
Okay.
basically, they just didn't want you in there, so that's what would happen,
Speaking of clubs, did you ever go to the Cozy Club?
Oh, yes, I worked at the Cozy Club.
Tell us about the Cozy Club.
Cozy Club was kind of similar on the background of Fanny Bells. Like I said, Fanny Bells, it was originally. I worked there when Shirley Gray owned it. Shirley Gray used to have the best steaks, and it was a supper club. It was a supper bar club. She sold drinks and dinner, and she had the best steaks and the best chicken, and she never would tell you how, she had a good clientele, she never would tell me how she fixed that chicken or the steak.
Where was Fanny Bell's?
It was, oh, gotta look on the book here, it's, ooh, wait just a minute. It says right here on the street, and I took a picture of it. Just 1 minute, cause my mom worked there, and then later on I did for Shirley. And I put it in here just a minute. I should have put the names on it, I put the streets. And I'm gonna let you have this book, cause I marked this book, not have it, but I'm gonna let you use it, yeah. I'm gonna let you use it, I marked it just a minute.
Might be a couple, 3 months before I get it back to you, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, as long as I get it back.
We're gonna get it back.
But I don't know where, come on. It's gotta be in the front pages, but I can keep talking to you guys, that's why I'm looking. But,
It was a supper club.
it was a supper club, and
Was
she
there
said,
dancing
right?
there and music?
Yeah, she had music. In fact, I was trying to think if she had somebody playing the piano. I think somebody played the piano, but Lord, I can't remember who it was, because they would have piano movement. And she had a bar. She had a bar there. Come in. Okay, yeah, I figured it was you just a second. Come on.
I'm on my way to work.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm getting an interview for Black History.
Oh.
And for, there's that, I want you to take back those two things right there.
Okay.
And then tell me what kind of money you're supposed to have. I'm trying to find a
Okay.
picture, I can't find it. Oh, wrong face.
Why don't you put this on pause for
Oh,
a
yeah,
second?
please.
We'll let
Yeah.
her-
She opened late though. She'd open like about 10 o'clock and she'd stay open all night. I'd come out there 7 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
It would open at 10 p.m. at night?
Yeah, she'd open late. It was a supper club. It was like an after hours.
Oh,
It was kind of like an after hours supper club. Yeah, because I'd come out there 7 o'clock in the morning. By the time we get through, we'd be done served dinner and drinks to people all night long. Because I was wondering, I said, now why would I be coming out there 7 o'clock in the morning? But it would be. So I don't know if that was a law or what they had,
Mixed race, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, that was most of her business. Yeah, it was white people's white customers because they loved her chicken in her. Actually, more white than it was the blacks, really, because she didn't like for a lot of them hanging around because she didn't want to lose her white customers. And a lot of the white customers, we talking doctors and lawyers and nice people,
So then the Cozy Club was when did that come along?
Ooh, God, I come back. It's got to be. Well, I worked for her in the 60s, so I don't know how long she'd had it before then, but it was the 60s during my turn when I worked for her.
Did Shirley have that too, the Cozy Club?
Uh-huh.
Is she still around?
Oh, no, I don't know if she's passed or not. Somebody told me she left here and went back to Chicago or somewhere. I don't know where Shirley went. After her husband got killed or died, John Gray, and I was in and out of here. I'm not going to find it. These are pages that I wrote, but I have no idea where it is, I tell you. That's because I'm looking for it. But anyway, it's in here. You can find the Cozy Club in the street. See, my history was so, and I can remember walking past the old radio bar, and if you'd walk past there, you'd have to hurry up. Somebody might got thrown out on the ear. It was another one of them Western ones too.
Were the Cozy Club and Fanny Bell's both in Sandbar, or where was that?
It's on the Sandbar.
Uh-huh.
On the Sandbar. Now, wait a minute. Here it was. 243 West A. Whew. This is Fanny Bell's. 243 West A. And then later on it changed to Cozy Club. C-O-Z-Y.
Oh, okay, so that became the Cozy Club,
Uh-huh,
which
the
eventually
first
moved
one.
out on F Street.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Shirley Gray had that. Yep. There we go. And then moved over there. Yep. But she got the one.
I can remember in my early 20s going to the Cozy Club.
Yeah, over there, yeah. That was our nice spot. What kind of money, baby? Things like that. Names may get away from me. Go to work where you work. I see you got your. All right, now we do. There should be no more interruptions, okay?
Any memories about Fanny Bell's or the Cozy Club that we should probably preserve for you?
No, the only thing I didn't know until I read this book that Hattie McDaniel, the famous movie star, had actually been there when Fanny Bell had it. I didn't see it, but it says so in this book. She's dead now. Hattie McDaniel.
She's the one who played Butterfly McQueen, didn't she?
Butterfly McQueen. And she had actually been in that. I didn't know that place was that famous for that, but it's here in this book.
What about Louis Armstrong? Did you know he had been here?
I didn't. I knew Fats Domino had, but I didn't know Louis Armstrong. Fats Domino had, and they got to fighting and clowning, so he said he never would come back here no
The
more.
reason I found out about Louis Armstrong is I sent a copy of the newspaper article that you and Chester and
Mhm.
Stephanie were in to this incredibly bright, tall sociology professor in Maryland who had been here visiting.
Really?
And he heard about the project, and he called up Chester after I sent the article, and Chester told him that Louis Armstrong had been
Really?
here.
I didn't remember. I didn't know that. But Hattie McDaniel, she's definitely in the book. I didn't either. But they're getting a lot of these archives, and I'm going to go on my own to the library. It tells you in here where he got a lot of his research to the library. And then the phone book out of Salt Lake City, he tells you at this preface where he got a lot of his articles, and Laramie too, if you want to look up some things. He told you, he says in here, is where he got a lot of his articles.
What about the Riverside?
Riverside. I didn't go there much. These are the kids that I think I had gotten a little older adult. The younger kids kind of went to the Riverside. I began to be a mama then, and I think so. The little kids younger than me after that, I heard about it, but I didn't frequent it. This is I can show you, but it's marked. I used to live here. These are the shacks that are down there on the was on the sandbar. They've torn them down now. And this was a prostitute, and this was my nanny. The lady's name was Mama Miller. She was an old lady. She was really part of the thing, and she used to keep us while Mom worked. And this was my nanny. And then later on, I lived in here. When I came back from Texas in '63, I lived in one of those, on there. So that's part of the history.
So Bill Henderson, he's another one we.
His name is God. Yeah, him and his wife used to live there. She's dead now, but she's much better.
Yeah, he had an appointment, didn't show up, so we had to reschedule.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of the old people and some of those the names that now this one here, this is Square Deal Nick. I remember old Square Deal Nick on Westby. He used to have the best old chili in there. It was nasty, but it was the best old chili because I was a kid, but we go there and eat it. I can remember that. And Braddis, I didn't tell you about Nick Braddis. That was part of my childhood. Braddis pushed me in the grocery cart because we were the only little black kids down there. I guess I'm like, 5, 6 years old, something like that. And he pushed me in the grocery cart. My mom would go in the store and buy food. And he still remembers me. And he remembers me most by, I had a dog. And I gave it a bath. And the dog, a dog shakes itself and he trembles when he's cold. And I thought he was cold, and it was cold out there. It was snowing. I thought the dog was cold, so I put the dog in the oven and went outdoors and went to playing. And forgot about my dog. I'm warming him up. I didn't give him a bath and everything. Dog was shivering and everything. I said, well, he's cold. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to warm him up. I put the dog in the oven. I went out playing, forgot about the dog, and I guess Mama lady come on and found him. We had big dog. And she told Braddis, and Braddis can remember, and you go talk to Braddis, and you ask him about Tuffy, and he said, oh yeah, she's the one to bake the dog, but I didn't mean to do it on purpose. I'm warming my dog up. I burned up my dog. That sure did. It was just too mean.
The dog died.
Yeah, I burned him up. I burned him up. I didn't mean to. I'm warming him up, but I killed my dog. Oh, this phone, I tell you.
Washington Elementary, did you go to junior high?
Not here. Not to go do. Like I said, I had to get. I got a GED. I went back. I was 27 years old, and they had a thing called employment orientation, and they did it down there where, I guess it's the water company, the gas company. It used to be where the old employment office was. Mm-hmm. Can you remember where the old employment office is? It's down there now where the Salvation Army is on Center Street.
Okay.
And that used to be. Was that the water or the gas company? It's now. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's on Center Street. But
Gas company. It was gas.
It's the gas company. Okay, but it used to be the old employment office, and they had a thing. It was called employment orientation to get people, kind of like what they have now, this power thing with the welfare, to get people off the welfare and to finish their school and train them so they could get jobs. And it was called employment orientation, and I went to it, and to help you study for your GED is what happened. So that's how I did mine.
But you didn't.
And I got here at Castle College, huh?
You didn't do any junior high at all?
Not here. Not here. My kids did, but I did. No, I did. Because like I said, I did. My schooling was in Texas. Like I said, the early part, my elementary school, then I left here and went to Texas, and then I started having children. And like I said, I was 27 before I went back. I was 27 before I went back.
Do you think, just, I hope you understand the intent in which I'm asking this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's pretty typical experience for an African American woman to not finish school, to have babies, wind up on welfare? Or...
I don't know if it's typical, but it happened to me. I guess it shouldn't have happened to me because what happened, I got pregnant real early. I got pregnant at 13. I had my first child 14. And it wasn't really, and I was raped. I don't never tell anybody, nobody believed, they would think, but I didn't give, because I was scared to death. My mom had us terrified. I mean, she had us terrified that we'd get pregnant. In fact, I was 3 months before she ever knew I was, and she wouldn't have known if I hadn't started vomiting, because I was that terrified of her. I mean, she was kill us, she told us she'd kill us. But anyway, and I'm like in the 8th grade, and the principal came and begged my mother to make me go back to school, to finish school, because I was good at school. And he said, but I wouldn't go because I didn't want to be making fun of it. I knew the kids were going to make fun of me, and at that time, if you got pregnant and out of wedlock and all that, you were the scorn. And I said, no, it's going to be more fighting than it would be.
That sure has changed
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Changed today.
Yeah, I said it would be more fighting than me learning the book, so I chose not to go. I said, well, I just had my baby, and it just took me that long to go back. And so I don't know, won't say if it's atypical. In my lifestyle it was. It happened to me, so I don't know. I guess I could have went back sooner, but then, like I said, I got to the business of raising kids and taking menial jobs, and I got tired of taking menial jobs as washing dishes and being a maid and working in fast food places until I got tired of that, and then I just wanted to do better for me and my kids.
So 3 of your kids are out of town now?
No, they're here. They're
all here?
Mm-hmm. All
Okay.
4 of them are here. Yeah, they're all here in town.
And they're all Wallaces, right?
Uh-huh.
I asked you that before.
Mhm,
Or
mhm.
can we have their phone numbers by any chance?
No phones. Can you believe that? I mean, I'm really kind of disgusted. They live at the Star apartment. 2 of them do. 2 of them live at the Star, and then one lives here, and the other one, he's going to be incarcerated in a little while, in 4 or 5 days. By Tuesday, he's going to get about 3 to 5 years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's the lifestyle he chose. He chose it.
That happens. Would your son that you live with here, would he be interested in being interviewed sometime?
Oh, maybe. He might, because he might could tell some of his experience, because he's younger, and he's seeing a lot of things that I'm not seeing in his age group that I have went through. But I can say this: we had more fun than my child is having, and I think reason why at times is different and is with the drugs. My kids, they don't observe the holidays like we did. Halloween and Christmas and Thanksgiving things. You know how you used to, everybody go to everybody's house and you'd enjoy. These kids, they don't even, holiday come and it's gone. I mean, they don't even make no difference. They just don't preserve and then they can't visit each other. And what I mean about can't visit each other, they're scared because they don't know who's on drugs, who's not on drugs, and they don't know whose house they can go to and be there comfortable without the police hitting down the door. So they miss the fun that we had. We made our fun. It was so few blacks here that we'd give house parties. We went to each other's house, and we could go to each other's house because there wasn't a lot of black places for us to go to entertain ourselves. And we did have one, the North Casper Clubhouse. They used to let us rent that. And that's where we would give our parties, like we wanted Valentine's Day and black and white and things like that. We could rent the North Casper Clubhouse, and that's when it was all black thing. Otherwise, it was each other's home, or like I say, the one bar or something like that. That was our entertainment. But these kids, they don't even do that. They can't do that. I mean, they can't get along with each other enough to do that because, like you said, they're scared.
Which son is it that we live
This is the baby. This is Chris.
Chris. Okay.
This is Chris Waller.
What about Ezra and?
Those are my grandkids.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
about
Ezra and oh God,
Keisha?
Kazel.
Hazel?
Yeah, those are my and Keisha. Yeah, those are my grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And their mom, like I said, she got off on the wrong foot, and I can't get her back. But those are my grandkids. Yeah.
So that's your daughter then?
Mm-hmm. And see, Casper's so small, everybody's kin to each other one way or another. Some kind of way, some kind of way it is. It really is.
Oh, that's true.
Especially in the black community, it's one way or the other. Your cousins or in-laws, sister-in-laws, or something. Now the Youngs. Now see, the Youngs are my kids' grandparents. Mrs. the Youngs. There's a lot of them, and she's the grandmother to Ezra and Kazel. So it's just a lot of everybody just kind of kin to everybody. Now Josh is my I guess you would say stepchild, I guess, because my son and his mother have a daughter together, have a baby together, Shannon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so Josh and Angela is intermixed in my family because his little sister is my grandbaby.
Okay, and then Grady, where does Grady
Well,
come?
Grady is their father. Grady is Josh and Angela's dad.
Okay.
See, that's their dad, but
But there's another child that Shannon has.
has,
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody, one way or the other, it is. It's sad, but one way or the other, it is. They just in the mix. I guess because there's so few of us, I don't know if that's what it was. And all this thing, like I said, I find now, and I don't know, other people think different, but I see it because I've been gone, and not saying that I'm so worldly traveled, but I have been to different places, a lot of big cities. And I feel Casper needs a little more ethnic. We need a little more. It's a few of us here, but we want to buy some ethnic things. You know, we want some things, and I think they call themselves keeping it, and I don't mean no harm, but the white kids like it just as well as the black kids. I mean, they've really taken over the dress more so than the black kids. You know, them old rap records, them old big pants and things. You see more white kids in big old pants than you do the black kids, and so they call themselves keeping it away from them. I guess that's what they're doing. I don't know. And then, and the same way the TV programs, if we watch something, it's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning when we see our black program. I mean, you know, and they know the average black got to get up and go to work. They know the average black got to get up and go to work. And to see a black movie comes on 12:30, and 1 in the morning if we get a chance to see it. So I think they could do a little better. I really do. Maybe they don't. But and I understand is music. We don't get a lot of our black music, spirituals and things like that.
Maybe this project is going to help raise
I hope
awareness.
so.
Do you
I
think so?
hope so. I think after they hear different ones talking different versions, and as you'll find, I'm very outspoken, and I won't really say I'm opinionated, but I'm outspoken. But you're going to find some, to my thinking, they've lived here so long till they've accepted, till it's fine. You know what I'm saying? You're going to find some people that you're going to talk to. Well, I don't see no problem with we don't need nothing. And they've accepted, and it's not accepted because I, for one, still feel I ought to be able, if I want to go buy me some makeup, I should be able to go up to that barn and buy me some makeup. I really should. I shouldn't have to get a money order, write a letter, send it to my sister, tell my sister to put it in the box and send it to me. I just don't think I should have to do that. Same way if I want to buy a black spiritual, I should be able to go out to Walmart or Kmart, look on the rack with the rest of the music and pick me up a spiritual. I feel this. I mean, maybe it's wrong. I know they say it's the supply and the demand, but they know blacks are here, and they've been here a long time.
Yeah. Am I hearing you say, let me get this clarified in my mind, that a younger generation of blacks are accepting discriminatory?
No, the older ones that have been here before, well, it's okay, we don't need it. The younger ones, they want it.
Okay.
I think they want it. But it's the older blacks that have been here, well, this is the way it's always been, and I'm fine, and we've gotten along fine up until now. So it's okay, we don't need it. And that's not so. You know, it's just not so.
I haven't reflected with the kids on this yet, but I have seen that too. Very definite generational differences. Are you picking up on some of
They're
that?
very definitely. The older ones, it's fine. You know, whatever they hand out to them. Well, I done lived here all these many years, and it ain't hurt me, so I'm okay. But that's just not the point. You know, to me, it's just not the point. Or either, well, Casper's getting me good, I've gotten along fine. Yeah, sure you have. You've got a job. Some of them's got homes, and some of them had a job, and everything. But you still missed out on your black ethnic culture. I just think you have. You know, I think you're missing out on it.
Anything else, Crystal? I've been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'll be running my mouth. I hope
That's it.
I hope I got some information that's good for you guys. And then, I had my little notes too. Now, I don't know, and I told you about who the kids that I played with and where I work. Now, I don't know if it is or not. And I haven't seen. Some people say it's the difference in the police when the police are police. We haven't seen out and out blatant police brutality. I have never seen them. Some people say it is, say it's a difference, but I don't know. So right now, if it is, it's minimal. It's minimal. I know recently I read where they had stopped this Spanish kid and they called him a speak or something. So I don't know. I don't think we have a whole lot of it, thank God, a lot of prejudice among the police force, because it would just be really horrible if it was. So hopefully it isn't. Hopefully it stays at a minimum.
That's a good point, I think.
Oh, yeah.
What about the graduates? Did you give her a letter?
Yes, and she, matter of fact, when we were over at Chester's house, she gave it to me and she listed everybody she knew and I sent it back to her.
Yeah, they sure did. For
Yeah.
different ones to find.
Good.
And like I said, some was on there and they didn't, and I don't know if they went back to find it. Akima Jamal, but I think by them being light, fair complected, they probably thought they were white and they're black. Kima Jamal wasn't on there, and who was somebody else's name I was thinking wasn't on there. was some of the Youngs, Cynthia and Young, I think. And
Yeah, we know the list is incomplete.
Uh-huh.
We're adding as we
and
go
yeah,
along.
and I had tried to think of people, you know, in fact I was the one that told him about Chester, the older, when he was thinking of older people to talk to. Now I was the one that told Josh about Chester, and then he said, well, why don't we interview you? And then, like you say, you got the lady across the street from Chester, Knox. They had been here a long time, and I was trying to think of some of the older people that had been here a long time that I can remember that would have some history. Have you got Easter Conley?
That name has not come up at all, no.
Easter Conley. She had some kids that should have graduated too. Robert Conley and Ruth Conley, they should have graduated from. He's dead now. He's deceased, but he should have graduated. And her mom, she lives here.
Okay.
And let's see, who else has been here a long time? I don't know if you can get to her. I don't know how her mind is. She's pretty old, but it's Arbaugh, Bertie Arbaugh, Barbaugh. I can never say it right. And she's pretty old. She's like 90 something. I don't know how her frame of mind is, but she might could have something.
Do you know where she is?
Oh, it's on Conwell Street. All I can tell you is
Okay.
that it's on North Conwell.
Okay.
Either Conwell or Melrose. Put / Melrose. There's north. There's North Conwell or Melrose.
Okay.
And I can't think of no other elderly person that's been here a long time that's still here. A lot of the kids are been here a long time. Some have came later in the 50s, I guess, or 40s. I don't know.
We're interviewing all ages, so if you think of somebody
If
else.
I'll let you know. Let me have your number too.
Let me write it out. I've got
Okay.
like 3 different numbers you can give me.
Okay. And if I think of somebody, and I hope I've checked everything out that I can think of.
Yeah.
Because I've been on the train. My kids have never rode the train. They're right over there at the Burlington thing. In fact, I guess you could say that was really my first experience with prejudice that I can remember. It wasn't the
I
train.
didn't realize, I was born and raised here, I didn't even realize there were houses back up here, so. All right. Take about half an hour, not much more than that. Okay, Crystal, be sure to talk loud so we can hear you.
Okay. Can we have your name so we can spell it right?
Aaron T. Whitney, Jr.,
Can you spell it for us?
Aaron. T stands for Theodore, and Whitney, Whitney.
Can we have your date of birth?
1929. 28,
What month?
July the 5th.
By the way, I forgot to tell you, if there are any questions that they ask that you don't want answered, just tell us that and we'll go on.
So what did you get?
Huh?
You did 1928?
That's when you were born?
Yeah,
28 or 29?
28.
Okay.
I'll be 69, 69.
How long have you lived in Casper?
I did in Casper in 1949.
Everything.
From 1949 to present.
Ask me the question and I'll answer it as you go.
Okay.
You wanna know how Casper was when I came here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, as a black person, okay, when I came to Casper, there wasn't no jobs for black people. Mostly it was janitors. And then, first job I got was working at the Rialto cigar store for $1 a day. Then I was lucky to get a job working for Lincoln Mercury. Also, during that time, you couldn't buy homes. Black people couldn't here in Casper. So what you had, where they had to live, most of them, when they came to Casper in 1950, they lived on what you call a sandbar. You heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you could have a family of 4 or whatever, but where you lived, it was in they had a kitchen and a bedroom. And you had to put up bunk beds in the kitchen and use your bedroom for a living room and a bedroom. When we went out to take a shower, he had wooden walks. It was just about almost a half a block to his shower or bathroom. Anyway, so eventually in 1953 is the first chance I got to buy a home. And there was a real estate guy that owned the real estate company, and he was, I don't know, I'm not giving you his name, but anyway, he helped me to buy one because he figured I was a pretty hard-working man. He didn't want me to leave Casper. And at the time, he loaned me the money to buy the first home. He bought it for me. And it was, he put down the down payment in the bank, put up the other part. But then during that time, I did not know the interest rate. And he charged me 10% interest in 1953 to buy this house for him. And the bank was, you had to pay 1% interest.
Wow.
And now people are talking about big interest, greater interest. I paid it back in 1953, not knowing. So at that time, if the black man wanted anything, he paid twice the price for it. Yeah, whatever.
What did you worked at the Rialto Cigar Store, and then you went to, did you say, which car place?
I worked for Lincoln Mercury, and I went to Lincoln Mercury as assistant shop foreman. At that time, I started the Whitney janitorial service in April of 1950. So I worked the garage in the daytime and worked the business at night. So I averaged out about anywhere from 18, 19 hours a day.
Now, your family was still here in Casper, too?
At the time, but I'm on my other family.
His mother was who was
Yeah,
here
my
when
mother.
he came from the service, was his mother, and his mother has since passed on.
Okay.
Kind of like the rest of us, but we got just left here.
What else you want to know?
Did you have any, what kind of experiences did you have in public schools?
I didn't deal too much with the public schools. I had 3 kids in there. And at that time, I had built my reputation to where things didn't bother me too much. It didn't bother them, but they did have a kind of a hard time.
Your kids did?
Yeah.
Can you go into more detail about that? In the public schools here in Casper?
Yeah, they only almost I can say that I don't know that at the time.
Why?
That's the hard question. I won't answer that at the time.
What are their names?
It was Ernest, Curtis, and Michael.
Are they still in Casper? Are they grown up and left? And
There's just one in Casper,
which one's in Casper still?
Ernest.
And where are Curtis and Michael?
Curtis is in Denver, and Michael's he works up in Rollins.
What does Ernest do here?
He has his own business cutting lawns.
Where were you born?
Atchison, Kansas.
Okay, how long were you there in Kansas?
Up to the time I went into service.
And service took you to Manila then?
Took me to Fort Benning. And then
So you lived in the sandbar too?
Well, I know, yeah.
Can you tell us about the sandbar?
Well, actually, that was the only place that, actually black people could find a place to live. On the sandbar. And you had just like I said, in Renton you had a kitchen and a bedroom. And if you had 5 kids, you had to put them to live in there with the 5 kids. You had to walk way out outside. You didn't have no inside toilets. The toilet was on the outside.
What's your favorite memory about living in Casper?
Was my favorite one.
Memory?
I would say mine was how rough it was to make it. I remember. I had to struggle.
It might be the success that he acquired out of that struggle would be memorable, because I often think, and most people think, that having and owning a cleaning service or doing a service for anybody is not the thing that most people want to do. But you don't get any closer to people than when you go in and clean their homes. You are right up close and personal. And I would say his success as being successful in the cleaning business that he built for himself would be the one thing, economically as well as personally.
What's your worst memory?
The worst is working too hard.
I could tell you've been hard working your whole life.
Well, yeah, had to. I can remember when I back in the beginning, I was thinking about the house. I can remember when they would call you up for a job, but they did not know if you're black or white. And when you got on the scene, they would say, "Oh, I didn't know you was Mr. Whitman." So at that rate, from there, he would say, "Well, sometimes you knew that you wasn't going to get the job." Yeah. And the time he was black. See? And I had him to tell me, if you don't do such and such a thing, you're blackballed. Or when they say blackball, that made me work 3 times harder. Because I was intending to prove to them it didn't bother me one way or the other.
Would you like to tell them what blackballing is? I bet you they don't know.
Blackballing, if you don't, is where a white person, if you didn't go right on their job then, they would get mad at you, and they'd say, "Well, we're going to blackball you." In other words, they would tell you, "We're going to see that you don't get no other job." You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what blackball is.
What other discrimination did you have?
Do what?
What other discrimination did you have?
You couldn't, when I came in, you couldn't eat in a restaurant. You couldn't go in a bar. And at that time they thought, this is what y'all don't know. At that time y'all thought that blacks, they thought that blacks didn't even have sense enough to drive a truck. And what we did, it was 4 very close white friends of mine. We would go into a cafeteria and we'd order a big dinner. And the waitress would say, "Well, I can't serve him." So they would sit there till they brought their food, and they'd still sit and say, "When is his coming?" And they said, well, we can't serve him. And then they would, we'd all get up and walk out. They wouldn't eat the food, just leave it there. So we did that for 4 or 5 times or more. And eventually they got where they were servers. They served blacks. And that's why they didn't want to lose these steaks and things sitting on the table. Then we took an, these same very close white friends of mine, blacks couldn't, they didn't think we was qualified to hold a secretary job or any kind of office job.
Or any kind of economically advantaged job,
Yeah.
whether it be teaching, office, skills, any skill outside of house cleaning and possibly dishwashing. They felt the skill level was very low, and there wasn't even the opportunity, there wasn't even the chance to be given the opportunity to prove that you could do it, or that it was there, because as you probably even know now, there are limited blacks in any position in Casper, whether it's city government, state government, or even the federal government
And the
that's
school
stationed
system.
here, and the school systems. One, because blacks don't stay here long after they realize, I'm not getting anywhere here. Because there isn't that camaraderie of black and white don't understand enough. You know, they're like, we want to understand, but, you know, there's still that apprehension. Where until you get to know somebody, you don't know anything about them at all.
Until you want their shoes.
Well, yeah, and that's true, but, you know, on the outside surface, I'm no different than you or anybody else except for the color of my skin. And that's the only difference. But they look at the color of the skin and they can't go any further.
And then anyway, I got that broke up in 1950. In 1954, we got where we broke up the where blacks go in bars and sit down. I worked on that committee. Then we
What committee are you talking about?
it was just it was 4 white guys. I would not call their names, very close, and they was trying to help. At that time, we did not want the marching here.
The Ku Klux Klan or?
Well, the Ku Klux Klan was here. But
It was almost like, I would say, a civil rights, you know,
Yeah.
the forming of a committee to deal with the civil rights issue that came in.
And this is early 50s then this started?
yeah, we did not want.
They didn't want to have, you know, Wyoming
No,
Wyoming has a very proud history, so they say. And they didn't want the other part of the country to in any way realize that, you know, this is happening in Wyoming. And so they kind of wanted to cover that up where it would make them look in the histories now when, you know, these kind of situations come up, they say, we don't have that. It's like, hello, you don't have it because you don't have the same problems. And, you know, like I said, the officials and people who are in charge of decision making, they say it's not there because it's not there because they don't want it to be there. That's why it's not there. And nobody really wants to sit up and say, hey, Wyoming really has this problem, because there again, you go back to the economics. You don't stand up in Wyoming and say things are not right and continue to be prosperous at it. You know, so
Not in the state of Wyoming.
so you just kind of carry that throughout the community, throughout your friends and, you know, the people that you associate with. And if you're black, everybody, they're very aware of it. But it's not an open situation because it doesn't lend to any real progress. It doesn't lend to doing anything. Nothing's really going to change. The only change comes one at a time, one person at a time making the difference. But as a group, it's some are economically able to maybe suffer, as you know, Mr. Whitney said a while ago, some of the disadvantages of standing up and saying, listen, I'm not going to go through this anymore, it's not worth it. And that's why, and I think that's why blacks leave Wyoming, basically, and don't come here. You know, is
That's one of the questions we've been trying to answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is why they don't come here is because there's nothing to attract them and they don't feel welcome here.
It's not, it's
You know,
not, it's
and,
nothing for them actually to do.
there's nothing to do. When something goes wrong, if there's a vast number of them there, they look to that community. It's like, hello, there are other things taking place here. And there are other people doing this, but, you know, and they always feel like the microscope is on them. And that's a very hard thing to have, is somebody watch your every move. Doesn't make any difference what color you are, but happening to be black, it's really difficult because, you know, if you turn your foot on a rock, they're gonna catch it. And where if you really stumble and fall and say what you really think, then it becomes arrogant and, you know, it goes totally awesome. But that's really, my feeling is why there is not black here. It is not it's really has nothing to offer. Families are not, I think if you're not born and raised in Wyoming, there would be no reason in the world to come here.
Well, they're not gonna, if they was raised here, they're not gonna come back.
Yeah, once they leave, they don't.
They'll come back. And then in 1961, I believe, that these business white guys, these four I'm talking about, they would go around to, like the oil companies, some of these companies, they ask them, now, if we find a black that can qualify for such and such a job, will y'all be willing to put them in there?
This is in 61?
Yeah, around in 61, 65. And then we would, they'd come back to me and say, well, Whitney, we found an opening. So and then my job was to go out and find a black I thought was qualified for this job. And I was recommended to them. And they would interview them in a room. I'd sit back in the back room and listen while they interview them. And then when they got through there, we'd get together and they said, well, Whitney, what did you say? And then in my way, you think you're qualified or do you not? Yeah, what do you do? And if I said, yeah, well, they would get the job. And it went on that way, and it finally kind of leveled off. Now, but after the oil boom went down,
During and prior to the
yeah,
boom, it was a
then
lot
you could
better.
see. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if there's no economic disadvantage, in other words, if the economic situation isn't taking away from someone else being employed, then there isn't the big graph. There isn't the big fear of getting rid of affirmative action. But as soon as economics puts X number of people on the unemployment lines, then we've got to start talking about economics, and we've got to do the affirmative action. Where does it really work? Well, in some cases, if it wasn't for that, there would be not a black person anywhere in employment. Because they say, well, it doesn't have anything to do with the color. But when you sit across the table from someone in an interview, unless you're black, you probably don't notice it, but you notice the demeanor, you notice the things that they do, and it's only inherent. You know, some of the questions they ask, some of the things that they get into, and that you talk about, and suddenly it's like, well, if there's a comfort level and you're no real threat, the comfort becomes greater, and they feel comfortable with you. If they don't feel comfortable with you, it is a very difficult situation to deal with, because there's
Well,
two
yeah.
uncomfortable situations. You're not comfortable with them and they're not comfortable with you, but you do have to establish some level of comfort to even do what we're doing here.
Yeah, but sit there, then you are living.
We live different.
My family, say for instance, they live in
We live differently,
Different.
people look at us differently,
But-
and people do treat us differently.
and then you have, we can see it from both sides. We can see it from the white, we can see it from black. How would I word that?
Well, I don't know. I guess because we both come up with such strong, I come from a single parent family who nothing was impossible with hard work, honesty, and diligence. Simple as that. No one gave you anything and no one took anything, at that point. And so I think that's the real strong thing, is that we both had the strong push of our parents at that point, who said, you can achieve anything that you set your mind to as long as you're honest, hardworking, and willing to do it. And so that was the drive that was instilled in us, because, I always think now when and I'm a little bit naive when I hear people say, well, they're from a single parent family and they have some difficulty dealing with that. I'm sorry to say, I didn't realize being from a single parent family meant anything other than there wasn't a father in the home. Because I don't know if I ever knew.
Mary, are you from Casper too?
No. I didn't know if I ever knew what the difference was, because it was kind of like, okay, this is what we have. And I, was always in realization that somebody else probably had more than I did, but it wasn't an issue. The hard work and diligence got me from that point to the point where I wanted to be. And
Well,
through doing that, and that's how we see some of the disadvantages now, is a lot of times you have to do things you don't really want to do, as long as it's not illegal or against the law. It may be an unpleasant task, but you do it.
What about then the perspective that he says, how do I word this? What?
I think that's what he was trying to say, is how do you word, looking at the fact that economically speaking, we may not suffer the same economic disadvantages that some people in Casper do. And that's a real hard thing to do, because it's like, how do you do it? Well, by the grace of God that we did it, and God's blessing that we continue to do it, that we realize where that all comes from.
Well, you had to
And
work
that's a
twice as
personal
hard.
thing.
Being a black man, you had to work twice as hard to prove yourself.
Aaron, I want to ask you a question. It's interesting talking to you, because we have interviewed some people who are probably 10 to 15 years older than you, who feel that they've had a wonderful life and there is no discrimination at all here in Casper. Why do you think that is so? Do you have any thought to offer about that?
Well, I imagine they want to stay at the same level. They didn't want to advance. And you talk about 10 years, so you'd be talking about back in the early 40s, right? And they had been settled in. They didn't want to advance. They were satisfied. And the younger bunch came up and wanted to move. We didn't want to stay right here. We wanted to go up. And yes, I think the average older black family, they was settled in. And they, all they knew was getting on their hands and knees and scrubbing the floor. That was their life. So they was happy. They didn't.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I have come to realize in the last almost 30 years now that it's not the ideal thing that people have or want to do. But I know a young lady who went to college and worked in the legislative officers of one of the state senator, who her goal was, yes, she had the degree, she has all the credentials, but she wanted to be a maintenance engineer. She wanted to be a person who did maintenance type work, which means you go in, you fix the boiler, you find out what's wrong with it, you figure out how to do this and how to do that. People thought she was absolutely crazy. But there is a certain amount of reward in that, especially as women. And they always think of women as going in and cleaning houses. Well, let me tell you, you can go in and make a vast difference, because when women go in and know the answers to the same questions that men are asking, it's different. And they're like, whoa, you're not just a woman.
he was trying to get that license plate number. So I finally got it, and they wanted to buy it from me, I wouldn't let them buy it. It hadn't been, but three of us had it. There was a doctor and then the Dallison family owned it. Remember the filling station up there by the Greek church?
Oh, yes, on
Okay.
C Street there?
Yeah, I have their license plate number there.
Yeah.
And you know how many years that did? And then that park behind there, you know, the park that's got Dallison on it?
Okay, yeah.
Well, I donated that ground to them, put their name on it.
Wow. Okay, you're just getting ready to talk about some attorneys. I'm sorry we had to interrupt you there.
No, I was just saying, I thought it was all.
Well, you know, we have kids who work, they're looking for part-time work, and they're high school kids, and the number of kids that have gone through the doors to sweep floors and to clean with Mr. Whitney, and as well as myself, is numerous, who have gone on to become doctors and lawyers and done something with their
Yeah,
lives.
so, 3 or 4 of the
And it's always
biggest lawyers
interesting.
here in town.
It's always interesting to see those kids grow up, go off to college, come back and look us up and say, do you remember me? And I'm going, I don't think you're the same person.
So you still have your business that's still operating right now, huh? Mary, where are you from?
Mississippi.
And how'd you wind up in Castle?
My mother moved here and brought me with her.
And you had no choice.
So I figured I might as well make the best of a bad situation.
How old were you when you came here then?
About 12.
And when was that then?
Let's see, we came in August of 1960.
Well, you haven't been here that long then.
No, I haven't.
Any other experiences you can share with us?
I could share a whole lot with you, but I didn't know really want to do it all.
Some of it you can take it's good and bad. If you can
Well,
learn from it, it's
I have
worth
no
sharing.
problem
If you
now,
can't,
I'll put it that way.
if you
No.
can't,
Yeah, I met all the good friends, and most of my friends in business around here, run business, and I had no problem. And some of my most best friends as well, and I had no problem. But you work like I don't know what to get there. And I can't really didn't think you were, you didn't have sense enough to drive a truck, so to come up and make it. Go ahead.
Why won't you tell us about your boys' experience in the public schools? It was that bad?
It wasn't that bad or that good either.
it wouldn't really serve any,
Yeah.
what purpose would it serve?
It's part of the history.
Well, that's true, but
If there was discrimination in the public schools, you know, something, we want this to, people to learn from what we're learning.
sometimes discrimination is so subtle you don't know what has happened. You
Yeah,
know,
we're
and-
picking up that there was quite a bit of subtle discrimination
Yeah,
right there.
and
There has been and continues to be.
And the thing is, and that's true even
Well,
now.
you still find
Uh, even now, it's like, you leave and it's like, unless
I
it's
don't see it
blatant,
that much,
you don't
it's
know
there.
it's there, but I think we have to realize, and one of the things that truly taught me was the fact that, yes, I had it happen. Secondly, I won't tolerate it happening to my child, because I think if it happens, what are you gonna do? Well, you know, if you can't do anything in the local building, there's always central services and somebody there is in charge. And usually that's where you go. And, you know, if your kids are having problems in school, don't sit back and let that happen, because that affects them years down the road. Because they need to know that somebody is going to go, and you know, to their defense, or at least feel like what they had to say or how they felt was important enough for somebody to let somebody else know. That's the thing, and I think sometimes that didn't happen, so it was like, well, it wasn't important. It is important. Anytime our children are offended in any way, it's important. because at the minute it doesn't have an effect, but trust me, later down the road it has an effect, and you think back, and that's where anger comes in, and it's built over 20 years, and it's like, I'm just gonna take it out in a minute. You know, so when your kids are experiencing, you know, as our kids experience that, we need to take that seriously, you know, and not allow it to happen, because I think once you put them on notice, you're not gonna allow it to happen. It doesn't happen. I've volunteered more times than I care to think. When mine was when she was in grade school, and in fact I had people ask, do you work at the school? No, I'm just there all the time. And I feel that, you know, she didn't have a lot of that, but yes, she did it. She has experienced it. Because I was there, because it was pretty obvious that I'm not going to tolerate it. You know, in whatever I say, whatever happens, I just won't, because I see there's no need for it.
Well, here in Casper, my main thing was that we didn't want to march. And I had worked hard for what little I had got, and I didn't want mine destroyed. And I know they didn't want, and other people didn't want theirs destroyed. So therefore, I would not let it come in here. What we do ourselves, that you, instead of fighting and tearing up things, why can't you sit down at a table, talk by the floor?
But sometimes that
That's what we did
economics,
at that
my
time.
thing is, if you can't get it through one way, economically you can get it through, and granted, there's not enough people to make a difference in Casper, but if I go in a store and I'm not treated properly, I have no problems not going back in that store and telling anybody I see. Not, you know, my experience, because I had that experience this summer, and it was just total arrogance, and, you know.
What happened this summer?
We took my daughter's bicycle to bicycle shop downtown, and they were to call us when it was ready. So I assumed it wasn't ready until the day I answered the phone, because I have answering mail, voicemail, or whatever. Nobody had left a message, the bike was ready, and so I asked the guy, because he'd asked for my husband, and so I said, oh, he's here, and told me the bike was ready, and I asked how much it cost, and, you know, simply thinking if I had enough money in my purse, I would just go get the bike before Aaron got home to go get it tomorrow or whatever. And the guy in the background simply says, lady, it doesn't make any difference. We should have charged you storage. It's been here so long. You've got the bike here. It wasn't the fact that I wasn't going to pay for the bike. I wanted to know if I had enough money to go to the bike shop to get it, or if I needed to go to the bank to get money.
Well, they hadn't called it.
And they hadn't called. So when we went to so of course that really upset me. So when I went to get the bike, the young man who was there said he didn't need our business.
Yeah,
Because they had plenty of business and they didn't need ours.
that was this summer.
And that was just here in May. And so I figured fine, and he said he was not going to apologize because he had not said anything to me. And he didn't feel that he needed to apologize. So, you know, I carried that, and those are the kind of things I carried the store owner and everybody else involved, all the same thing. I'm sorry, I won't go there anymore.
Can I go back to early 50s when you're talking about discrimination in housing? Was it just out and out, they would see that you were black and forget it, or what? If you were looking for housing here, or anybody who was an African American?
It wasn't, no, I thought, the older people had theirs, the children that bought by. But it was just in a certain area, if it came up, you could buy. It was all bought up. It was in. For instance, there was a guy out of Montana called me up to do a job. The house was on 2nd Street, right off from 2nd up there. The house is still there. At that time, I was stripping houses for FHA. And we'd go in and people strip a house. Take it out, put it back where the painters and things would come in. We'd take up the carpets, take out the mail, you know, clean it up. Anyway, we was up there, I had a crew up there that morning. We was up there early, clean the guy wanted to clean the house up because he had been transferred to Montana. And so we was up there working, we didn't get through. So I was at home at 10 I got a call at 10 o'clock at night. And he said, he's a real estate guy in town, he's still living. I'm not mentioning his name. He asked me, he says, Whitney, some of the neighbors are seeing me up there in that house. He said, are you buying it? I said, why? He said, well, the neighbors up there don't want no blacks in their neighbors. And they wanted him to speak to me to find out if I come back to that particular house. At that time, I was living in their house now. And I told him, I said, I don't know what I might do like that. He said, do you know, you're in business, they can blackball you. So I said, fine. But if you go back and tell them people, I decided to move in. And so he said, well, we can make it hard for you in business. I said, I don't care. Tell them I'm moving. That's what gave me the real fire to work that much harder, telling me what I can't do. So anyway, I took the crew. I put a stove, some chairs, and I backed the truck up there next morning. And we went on going on work like that. Meantime, I called this cat in Montana and told him what was happening. I told him to raise the price 5,000 more. And give me the 25. He did. They bought it. I got my 2,500. I don't know. So that was one of the things that, you know, after that, they began to buy where you are. You know, they kind of, you know, well, there was a lot of things. Yeah. A lot of things you don't even talk about.
Going back to your committee in the early 60s, you won't tell us the name of the white people that were doing that with you? Mm-hmm. It was just you and them, though?
It's me and them.
Okay.
No, I will not give out no names. I'm still in business. And you get names, but it still can happen. You understand what I'm saying? And no, I won't gonna give out no nobody.
Well, even though they were doing the right and something good.
That's right, they were doing something good. And then found it, fell into a trap. You could do whatever, you know, got better. So, all got to know me. So I have no problem. You know, now, but I can see other things that say that I really don't. I don't like it. Like I said, I have no problem. Yeah.
What other things are you seeing that you don't like?
Well, you still have that real race bill, right? It's still there.
It's there.
It's there. For instance, I'll put it as, for instance, about a year ago, 2 years ago, there was about 4 or 5 little white kids in a car. I drove up to this Common Sense or whatever it was, and I got out. The parents was in the store. I was going to get some gas. The parents was in the store, the kids was in the car. Anyway, the kid says, when the parents came out there, they said, oh, Mama, here's this nigger still. The parents, the woman started smacking them all upside the head. And I went over and I said, don't do that. Don't hit them kids. I said, cause they wouldn't have knew nothing about it if they hadn't heard anything. I said, now why you want to do it? Hit them all upside the head. And well, they ain't got no business saying. I said, they heard it. They had to hear it in their home. Yeah. They hear it 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So you run across the rest of it. Yeah. But it's what we need to do. We need to learn how to live with each other. learn how to joke with each other, how to sit down, you know, and not look at colors. You know, because when you get a cut, your blood come out as red. You know, you approach. So much for that. What else was it?
Is there any other people that you feel we should talk to?
Like you.
Anybody that you know? Or should interview?
White or black, we might have a history of the community that,
Did you do the Rutgers? Have you visited with?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
okay.
do? Yeah, Rucker was here when he was here about around 7
What about Helen Knox?
haven't had that name referred to.
Helen was born here.
Yeah, Helen Knox.
Just had a battery go out on a camera. I don't know I'd spend so much time recharging batteries and buying batteries in my life.
You don't have one of those, what is it, how it keeps going and going?
Yeah.
Ever energizer.
Helen Knox, and where does she live? Do
She
you know?
lives on North Washington,
In the
Okay.
400 block on the corner.
400 block of North Washington, and I'm not
Continent
sure.
Burlington.
Um,
He ought to know.
Josh may know her.
Where's,
She used to go, she's, I was trying to think of who she was related to. Mr. Davis's sister, Robert Davis.
you know, right on the corner.
She lives over on Washington and Burlington. It's a blue house. I think she may be in the phone book.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an address or anything in
Have
there.
you ever heard of her?
She goes to our church like on occasion.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
she's been visiting with her daughter or staying with her daughter in Louisiana 'cause she's that, but, you know, if she's here, she would be one good to talk to 'cause she was raised, she was born here.
She was born in what's it?
And her father was a painter here.
Yeah, he came for years now. Practically all the family know him. All the old
And I was
family.
trying to think, they maybe,
And then Birdie. Birdie's still there.
Arbon.
Yeah, she's 90,
she's 90-something.
about 96.
Yeah. Tubby just told her it's about her.
Oh.
Is she still in her house then?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And, let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. What was, I don't know the lady's name. She had 2 kids, she lived on the sandbar.
Everybody come here live on San Martin.
Well, no, but she lived there until the urban renewal, and she's a short lady.
We talking about, she's not living there.
I don't think she's still living, she had 2 kids, and I can't even think of her name.
What was her last name?
I don't know. I've drawn a blank, and I know and I don't know. Oh dear. But anyway, like I said,
Tuffy would know who
Helen.
she is, 'cause Tuffy and her used to run around.
No, I don't
Yes,
know.
they did, because they lived with her.
What was the name? Kelly.
Kelly, yeah.
Kelly. What is her first name?
I don't know what her first name is, but Kelly was here when they, back in the, well, she's in about 47, 48.
Okay. We can ask Tubby on that one too. What about the graduation list? You mentioned that. Do you have some additions for us?
There's a whole lot of.
Well, there was, and, you know, on some of these, Kelly Walsh, I'm not sure about NC's list.
Curtis came out of,
Curtis Whitney graduated from what? Well, there wasn't any other school except for NC at that time. I don't know, that was 63, 64.
I mean, Ernest come out of there. Curtis graduated from out of there. NCA.
Did you add the ones on, right on there?
No,
or-
because
No, I
we're
didn't know
not,
what you wanted to do.
we're not sure what years they
Who
were.
was born in-
79 at Kelly Walsh, Michael Whitney was one of the graduates out of Kelly Walsh. And then in the early 70s, there was a Williams, Yvonne Williams, I think was like 74.
See, when Ernest graduated from up there, Hunting all of them graduated.
I don't have the Kelly Walsh.
They just had a school reunion this year.
Oh, well, go get it. My daughter just told me that we have yearbooks in Kelly Walsh, from Kelly Walsh. Our kids must have left them.
That Santa bar book they came out with a few years ago,
Yeah, Tubby just loaned us hers, so.
a lot of that is, I got one of that too.
Yeah, we have
A
one.
lot of that is,
Is it accurate?
no,
Were you ever interviewed for that book?
no. I talked to the guy that wrote it.
Oh, 76 and 77.
78.
Oh dear.
So who, what,
Can I get a pencil? And I can make it right now. This is what year?
77, 70, 76, 77.
familiar?
Let's see. Who's some of the graduating classes? Well, here's some, James.
You could take him, y'all could take him books there and get
Where's the?
one that graduated within a year out of there.
Oh. Let's see, they have Tony Griffin on she's what year are they in?
Yeah. I think we're just about at the end now.
Do you want me to pause this?
Yeah.
Can we have the spelling of your names so we can get them right?
Mary, M-A-R-Y, Jane, J-A-N-E, Jackson, J-A-C-K-S-O-N.
Donald, D-O-N-A-L-D, Leroy, L-E-R-O-Y, Jackson, J-A-C-K-S-O-N.
Can I have your both of your date of birth?
Mine 3/14/32.
9/3/33.
How long have you guys lived in Casper?
I've been here since 1953.
Where were you before that, Mr. Jackson?
Atchison, Kansas.